when you're thinking about the future, it's gonna be about the people who participate in building this future. Everybody was using our product for work. You're listening to Data Room, a podcast where we build Team-GPT in public. My name is Iliya, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Team-GPT. I also teach 1.3 million people on the topics of AI and data science. I'm joined here with my co-host, Moni, who is also the head of product of Team-GPT. So it's quite suiting that we're going to be talking about product.
Hi, Iliya. Yes, you took my intro away from me. I'm
Sorry.
Simona. I'm the head of product at Team-GPT. I joined about 6 months ago. No, 8 months ago. And it's been a very exciting journey. So I'm really happy that we're going to talk about the product, what it's been so far, and where it's going to go in the future. Maybe reach the 10-year vision.
Okay.
Yeah. So before we start, I'm assuming that you're going to pass the ball to me. But before we start, can you say just a little bit about Team-GPT, what it is right now, how it started, and then we can start building up the product from there.
Team-GPT is a collaborative platform where teams between 2 and 2,000 people adopt AI for their work. Right now, our focus is on enterprise clients who are looking for private ways, 100% private ways to communicate with LLM, large language models such as chat-gpt. And the product we're providing them with is this collaborative interface, often deployed on their own servers or on private clouds and fully private.
Okay. Did it start like that? Was that the initial idea? What were you thinking about when you were starting? How did you approach starting Team-GPT?
Yeah, Team-GPT started as an internal tool. Once ChatGPT came out, there was no way to collaborate with the AI, and the only way to do it was to go to chat.openai.com and then have a one-to-one conversation with ChatGPT. Now, this was highly ineffective for our team, and we built an internal tool where you could hook up your API key, and we could see each other's chats. You could build a prompt library with the most commonly used prompts, and most of all, you could share this knowledge and organize it, folders, subfolders. Everyone we were telling about Team-GPT was very excited about this internal tool. And by the way, at this time, ChatGPT was even forbidden in Italy. So we had some friends from Italy that were like, oh, can I use your tool as well?
Yeah.
And then one of our co-founders, he found the name Team-GPT. We bought the domain for $10 and we started it as an idea we wanted to validate.
Okay.
So we had the internal tool. We built this landing page and we started testing whether other people have any interest in the product.
Sure. Okay, so you started with an MVP, then you moved into a validation phase with the MVP. Then we started collecting. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, about the MVP, something I want to say. Maybe this is an episode in which I have to get a bit deeper into this. When we built the MVP, we built really the minimum viable product that we could build, and we took an open source project which had built something on this, and then we used this service clerk.com. Now it's a very hot startup now. It got like many millions in funding, but back then it was not so famous, and Clerk was bringing the team bit to this open source project that we were having, and this allowed us to build a prototype in 1 day, an MVP in 1-2 weeks. And any new project should start in some way like this. Just get the basic things up and running, and don't think about it too much. Just ship it.
Yeah. In the marketing episode, we actually talk about how you initially didn't even have the product up and running. The first thing you did was you had a landing page up and running, and then you kind of took the temperature of the market. and then the product came after.
Yeah. So there is a difference between having an internal tool and a tool which allows others to sign up.
Yeah.
So this was the main difference. We had the internal tool which was broken in many ways, but it was fine for us because we knew in
How
what
it was
ways. Yeah.
broken. Yeah.
But once it starts a customer facing product, it becomes a bit different. You have to build some basic capabilities. And I remember the first client, one of our first clients ever, they entered the platform, created an account, and they said, I cannot collaborate. Like, I cannot see my friends' chats. And we're like, uh, no, boop, share work. Like, we haven't done it. Like, you cannot collaborate yet. But how did you find out about us? And then I told you that they found us even before we launched.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
very strong indicator of, you're doing something right. They buy your product before you launch it.
Yeah.
Then you tell them, we haven't built it, can I refund you? And then they say, it's all right, just build it.
Yeah.
This was very, very important
Yeah,
for
for sure.
the first phase of the product.
Yeah.
And then we started building pretty much whatever we wanted, like whatever we felt right for the first 2-3 months. We were testing, iterating. One such feature was the reactions. You can react to messages with emojis and everything. Nobody is using it, but it's an experiment. It was easy to do, so we did it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And we're killing it next week.
We're killing this feature.
Yeah, next week.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, sorry, reactions.
No.
Anyways, 3 months in, the idea was validated. It was the moment at which we had generated $10,000 in profit for our business. And this is kind of the point at which we found a head of product.
Yeah.
And this was you.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
we invited you to join. And what were the things that so I gave you some kind of job description, I presume, because I wanted you on the team. It was important you as a person to join the team, but there was some job description that needed to be made.
Yeah.
And what were the first things you decided to do in terms of leading the product efforts?
So at that point, we were getting out of the validation phase a little bit, and we were starting to think about collecting data. We realized we don't necessarily know the people that were using us, the users. We don't know what they were doing. We didn't speak to them that much. You were speaking to some of them with your very early on enterprise calls. But we did not have a good idea of how users were using the software Team-GPT. And so one of the biggest things that I had to get started on right off the bat, like from the door, was start talking to the users. Just start having customer interviews. And that was one of the biggest projects that I led initially. We have now more than 100 interviews that we have carried out. I've spoken to various different types of users as well, because we don't have a single user type. We have small to medium businesses. We also have enterprise level clients that have brought in people, teams that are 250 people and more, like up to 700 people are using Team-GPT in a single workspace. So they're obviously using it a little bit different. So we spoke to those people, and once we started understanding what their needs were, that was the phase at which we started developing features that were meeting user demand. So until that point, we had, you mentioned it, we were doing a little bit of experimentation. We have hypotheses, we validate the hypotheses, we still do that. But now a lot of the work that we do is focused on meeting the workflow demands of the businesses that are using us. And that's a really important thing that we have to think about. And currently we're solving, apart from the adoption issue, which we've spoken about in other episodes, apart from the collaboration issue, we're also solving the workflow issue. AI is coming in, and AI, people, businesses, teams are using the AI to kind of they're adding it to their workflow, and it comes at different steps, and you want to do a whole flow with it. You want to add it in different chunks of the work, at different stages of the work. So that was really important as an idea, as a feedback that we started getting. And so we're thinking about innovative. Yeah.
Sorry. So the feedback, I remember it quite well because at this point I was creating the online course as well, and we decided that the online course is going to be called chat-gpt for work. And one of the reasons why this was the case was what we were getting as feedback was everybody was using our product for work.
Yeah.
And starting from this realization, it became apparent that when you're doing it for work, at work you have workflows.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, workflows. And another thing that you have when you're doing work, you have work modes. You have different ways in which you're doing work. So you've mentioned this as well. Before you have, right now you have the chat interface, right? Like you have the chat interface and everything that you do is limited by the interface that you have. So we are creating a different kind of work modes, a different kind of interface, maybe a sub-product we can call it, or many different sub-products. We're thinking about creating those as well to meet the different work modes demands that users have. The first one that we're launching is editing, right? So you're right now currently you're only creating text with chat, but sometimes users in my workflow, for example, and in a lot of the user base that we have, people work with content and they want to be able to edit the content dynamically as they're creating it and not just be limited by input response type of work. So we're releasing that actually next week. We're going to be launching that feature. Not a feature, it's a capability.
By the time this podcast is released, the feature will be out.
Yeah. So at the time of recording. But yeah, so that was one of the biggest things that I started working on right off the bat. And another one that happened in parallel was setting up our analytics. So one of the things is obviously talking to the users and how they use it to get a perspective of where you want to get in the future. But you also want to get feedback as to how they're using the platform currently with the current capabilities. And so we set up, we work with June Analytics. That's not sure if it's relevant right now, but it's giving us a lot of insight into how they're interacting with the platform, and we can double down on some of the functionalities and some of the features that we have, and we can cut some of the ones that were a test and it was not a successful test.
Like the reactions that we're removing.
Yes, like the reactions that we're removing.
Yeah, this is an important part of building a product. It's not only about adding features, it's about taking away features, because you do not want to overcomplicate your product.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's actually feedback that we've started getting over the last month as well, that we have released a lot of new stuff, and since we are excited about them, we are putting them front and center. But new users that are coming in, and even current users that have their workflows set up, they're getting a little bit overwhelmed by everything new that we're releasing. So we're now putting a lot more attention to our UX as well, and just cleaning it up a lot more, so it's kind of leading you to do the most important things that you want to get done. And if you want to do other stuff, they're still there, they're available, we're releasing them, but we're cleaning it up. But in that sense, I think I just want to say we're being very practical right now when we are releasing new capabilities, because we have to meet the current demand for capabilities that our user base currently has. But that's, and this is a lot of the time, I think for most of the cases right now, we are meeting this this practicality that we have. It's for our current present user base and the current present problems that we're trying to solve. However,
sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying these, we're very practical and we're data driven and we're analyzing the data and we're gathering the data and we're doing the customer interviews.
Hot words.
Who are we talking to? I remember. I know who I talk to, but who is
who's
Team
the user
GPT
base? Yeah, who's the user base?
what are the top use cases that we see
Yeah.
right now?
A lot of the use cases, a lot of the businesses that are using us to generate marketing content. We have agencies that are using us very, very heavily. We have people from the tech industry. A lot of the use cases are product management, project management. We have a lot of work is getting done on strategizing as well. So there are different ways that people use LLMs like ChatGPT and inside of Team-GPT as well. There are different ways that you can use it. You can use it to solve quick tasks, right? You can do like 1-2 prompt response combinations to get a quick task done. That's not strategy, but you can also do it to research and learn to get ideas to ideate. That's another way. And another big one is creating whole pieces of contents or documents or whatever you want to say it.
Legal documents.
Legal documents.
Yeah.
One of our very big use cases that we didn't expect in the beginning, right, was law companies, firms, and businesses. They're using us quite heavily. There's a lot of the LLMs are trained on a lot of data like that, so they're very, very, very helpful when it comes to creating legal documents.
One customer told me, a senior lawyer, he said, "Listen, it's easier for me to edit ChatGPT's content rather than edit the junior lawyer's content."
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
And that's that's the new product that we're also releasing, editing with AI as well. That is just closing part of that cycle.
So I remember how we decided what to prioritize. Like, we made the crunch the numbers, we put it on the whiteboard,
Yeah.
and then we were like, what is the common thing between the marketing people, content creators, social media posts, blog articles, legal documents, educators, very big.
Yeah, that's a really big one.
Yeah, ITs, they're in top 3 as well, like creating code.
Documentation also, like code documentation is a big one as well. Release notes, other stuff.
And what's the common thing we realized? Well, they're creating large chunks of text that they're then taking out of the platform. So they're stopping, they stop using Team-GPT, and they go into Word or Google Docs or something to continue this workflow.
Exactly.
And we wanted to capture the value.
Yeah, exactly. And to kind of close the cycle until you get your finished document, so you are able to finish a document, a page, whatever you're creating, a content inside of Team-GPT. Later you can collaborate on the same finished document with other people. You could share it with them, so you don't necessarily have to leave the flow that you're in, right? So you can complete a workflow inside of the same platform, so to speak.
Yeah, and my favorite thing about this is you can do it without even writing a word. So after you start editing it, you can just click some buttons and the AI is doing the magic.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. Everything is possible now with AI as long as you think about it in this AI first way. How
like
can I put the magic? Yeah,
the lazy way,
magical,
for sure.
Instant.
Yeah, that's the laziness is something. It's a very interesting topic as well when it comes to product development and where we want to go. We're realizing the more we speak to our customers and clients, the more we are using AI as well internally for our own use cases. There's a certain barrier that you reach even when you're an experienced user, and that is you're tired of repeating the same thing giving the same context, repeating the same thing to the bot, and you really want to know that the bot, the software, the tool, Team-GPT, already knows your workflow, knows who you are, knows what you want to do today, how to get it done, what are the steps, what's the flow. And the next thing that we're starting to work on is enabling this knowledge so that the platform Team-GPT starts leading you into your own workflow, so you don't have to repeat, you don't have to be the driver anymore. That's a thing that's coming out of a lot of the interviews that we do.
Is like a template? You mean like template workflows?
Yeah, template is a good word for that. It's a little old school it takes you back to creating it's AI enabled templates, right? So they can augment based on who you are, what's your relationship with the team. They can augment based on seniority, for example.
You know how we call these? Agentic.
Agentic, yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
so
a weird word to use, but in reality, it's yeah. This is what AI agents are.
yeah. So this is where we're stopping with this direction that we're starting to take. We are stopping our uh, immediate practicality, kind of, and we're starting to explore the future. And this is where you and your enterprise conversations are coming in as well, because a lot of the time when you're talking to enterprise clients, you realize you're talking to head of AI, for example,
Mm,
in a company that has a lot of departments and employees, and they're trying to solve a bigger problem, not just the immediate one. They're trying to solve a bigger problem
mm.
that's in the future, about how to both integrate AI, but also automate with it. Make sure that you're preparing for that automation, and people are already kind of jumping on that train of thought.
Yeah, yeah. So there are many problems that need to be solved. And when you said you're talking to enterprise, yesterday the guy, one of the head of AI of a New York Stock Exchange listed company, called me on the phone and he asked me about my advice about the adoption and how to measure the proper
Mm,
adoption of, um, you know, AI in the company. And I started explaining to him blah 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 blah, and he's like, "Listen, don't convince me AI is good. I know AI is good.
yeah.
Now let's think about the how to adopt it better."
Mm-hmm.
And we've already talked about this, but I just wanted to mention it. So when we're talking about adopting a new technology, there are several things that we have to take in mind. People will be using it, so
Mm-hmm.
it has to be end user friendly, and I don't think many software right now are thinking about this. And we, as a collaborative environment, this is the first thing we think about. How are the end users gonna use it and be happy with it? This was the MVP. This was the first stage for us.
Exactly.
We found what they want to do, and in the future we know what else they want. Second thing, which is most important, privacy.
Yep.
And every enterprise client wants the privacy. Um, for some of them, being on their own private cloud, let's say on Azure, on AWS, or whatever other server they're using, is good enough so that the data is stored with them and stays with them.
Mm-hmm.
And the last bit is the model that they're using. If they're using OpenAI, the data is stored with OpenAI. They don't train on the data, but it's stored with OpenAI. If they're using Microsoft Azure OpenAI service, it is the data is stored by Microsoft, but maybe they already store everything with
Mm.
Microsoft. With Google is storing the data, but there are alternatives. You can deploy your own model as well,
Mm.
a Llama or a Mixtral, an open source model that you can interface with. And we at Team-GPT, we're serving this niche right now, that companies that want to deploy the collaborative software on their servers without sharing data with any third parties.
Mm.
And on this note, some companies are already creating LLMs, and everybody is talking about, I will fine tune this LLM. We'll take our data, and we have so much data, and we're gonna fine tune the LLM. So what? You have a model, but you still have to converse with it. You still have to
Mm-hmm.
interface with it. You still have to use it in some ways. This is where we're coming in, and that's why I'm so excited about our product, because we're prepared for the next 1-2 years when enterprise right now they're making these decisions. Q1 of 2024, so many enterprises are like, now it is time to adopt some AI.
Yes.
How do we do it?
Mm-hmm.
And they start thinking about it. In the next 2 years, all of them will adopt some tools, and um, the common things will be, they'll need the privacy, they'll need the different models, and probably they'll have their own models, and they have to interface through them through Team-GPT.
Mm-hmm.
If not Team-GPT, they have to build the interface themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been building it for 1 year, and we know that there are so many bugs, so many things you don't expect. We've tested so many different hypotheses, we've spoken to hundreds of people, and we've reached a point which is pretty decent, right?
Mm.
And even if someone copies whatever we're doing and does the same thing, well, by the time they do it, we will be on to the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is the most important thing when building product. What is the next iteration of your product?
Yeah.
And we're already thinking about this.
Yeah, that is one of that is the work modes and the workflows. Like we really want to start thinking about integrating automation, intelligent automation inside of the platform. Um, and we want to be able to deliver this for companies that are looking to integrate AI at scale, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's where the future is going to take us, anyways. And you said that they can build a custom product enterprises if they want to have all this privacy and the tool to
Mm-hmm.
interface and whatever. And then you said bugs. And the funny thing that I'm thinking about right now is that we're actually rebuilding. We've already done it, our entire code base, because we've learned so many
Mm-hmm.
lessons, and we are now prepared to innovate. Because with the current version of Team-GPT, we cannot necessarily meet all of the future ideas we have. Just
Mm-hmm.
the software wasn't built with those ideas in mind. So we have now rebuilt the code base, and we're able to both release some of the features, capabilities that our current users want, and we haven't been able to deliver that for the past 2-3 months. Uh, just because of some technical limitations. Now
Mm.
we can deliver that, meet those needs, but we are also preparing for the workflows and the flexibility and
Mm-hmm.
the direction in which we want to go in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And that comes with experience, that comes with talking to the people, that comes with understanding the industry really well and how technological advancements are happening, how quickly they're happening, what we can expect next. And
Yeah, and for the technical people in the audience, just the type of database that you're choosing, SQL or no SQL database. If you don't know in the beginning, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know who the end clients will be. You don't know will this be a place where, like Facebook, everybody will be uploading and generating content, which is with like big data and various data types and a million people asking for the same thing at the same time, or is it going to be used, on a private server by a
mm,
limited number of people? These take decisions matter,
mm-hmm.
and you cannot take them without you cannot make the decisions before having the data.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're very right. We are now cleaning our tech debt, and we're preparing for the next 2 to 10 years of cool product development.
Yeah, cool product development, right? Like we're out of the initial experimentation and validation phase, out of the MVP. We have traction. We know what the product market fit is. We know what users need, and we know stuff that they don't know. We
Mm.
know what we have hypotheses and ideas about what the future will be like, because you mentioned in other episodes as well that an AI enabled future will look very different. It will change the way we do work,
Yeah.
right? And currently, everybody is kind of meeting the. They're kind of adding AI on top of existing tools,
I
right?
call it slap on top.
Slapping AI on top of existing tools, but they're not necessarily thinking about how the essence of work is going to change in the future. And it might not look like we might not be using those tools anymore. Those tools are, they've been created 20, 25 years ago, like the market leaders, a lot of the tools, Microsoft Excel, for example. Um, and
Pre.
slapping AI on
Mm.
top of that is not necessarily fundamentally changing the way that we work. And AI has the potential to do that. We are already seeing and thinking about the automation that is about to come.
And I'll immediately give an example with this. So Microsoft Excel is the pre-AI tool, and then the post-AI tool is, in ChatGPT you can just drop an Excel file, and
Or
then
a picture of data. A screenshot.
You can put a screenshot of this is ridiculous, but it's true. A screenshot of data, and then you tell it, analyze it, create graphs, do these things, and it's doing them because this is what AI is capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not gonna happen with a copilot that I put in Excel. Okay, Excel can catch up with this, and you can even do it in Excel, like analyze my data with AI. But um, the core approach towards, one approach is, here is a file, give me the information.
Mm-hmm.
And the other approach is, I open Excel, I open the file, I load the data, I prepare the data, and then I click the button. And um, the future will be much more goal oriented. It is not gonna be about how do I achieve this goal with the Excel formulas and stuff. It will be about what really do I want to achieve? What is important to be achieved?
Mm-hmm.
And we've spoken with you about this. Actually, we meet regularly and we discuss the future,
The possible futures.
the possible futures. Yeah. And we have several. So
you can talk about the one that you really like that I don't necessarily that scares me a little bit, which is the one that we're going to be operating agents like inside of a game, right?
yeah. So I think it's very easy to grasp this one.
Can I just step back a little bit? You said that there are several different ways or modes of working. One of them is having a file, clicking the file, opening it, doing some analysis. The other one is just like taking the file, giving it to the AI and asking for the outcome. And another one, just as a segue to what you're about to say, would be you don't even have the file. The file has been somehow identified, created, put together in the background by an intelligent agent.
Exactly.
And work is getting done anyways. And now you can talk about your
yes,
game universe.
Yeah. Say you want to, and this is what most of the AI startups are working on right now, on I need to gain some, sales intelligence. How much money did we make last quarter? All of this information is available somewhere in the company.
Yeah.
And then you have an agent which is finding the relevant information. You have an agent that could be, extracting this information. The activities are a bit different. Usually the agents themselves are a bit different. And then it reaches you. Another agent analyzes the data. Another one visualizes, or there is some bundling. And in a future like this, this is absolutely attainable already, by the way. So it's a question of servers, and the technology is there. Now, I think that 10 years from now, it is a highly probable future that I go to work, and the only people that work are these who manage a virtual workforce. And I drink my morning coffee, and I'm like, okay, what are our sales for the last quarter? Some army of agents is doing something. Then I ask, okay, post a LinkedIn post where I'm extremely satisfied with these sales results. And some other agent does the whole thing, posts on LinkedIn. And in this future, humans are needed, decision makers are needed. You cannot leave the agents to do whatever they want. But in this case, we mainly monitor whatever they're doing. We're setting the goals and approving the final content. I can hardly imagine a future where I tell the agent post the post on LinkedIn and I never review it. So I wouldn't.
Assuming we still have LinkedIn, and this is how we, the future is a very big black box to me. Like.
Yeah, but so this is one option. Most of the workforce is humans just working with virtual AIs, like a game. There are some games which very look very much like this future, and most of the games are really about agents. You're an agent in the arena of the game, and you're going into this world and you're doing something virtually. But anyways, so this is one possible future. Can you give me another possible future which you think is feasible?
So you started with the game future, but we can also and you're saying that the only people you see working are people who are managing the workforce of agents, of intelligent agents, teams of agents, you know. Um, However, I do believe that human interaction, human collaboration, seniority in how you're managing, how you're starting work will still be very present. So I would not necessarily. I would suggest a different way. I would suggest just a build up of what you're already suggesting, in the sense that I don't believe that a lot of the workforce, I believe that a lot of the work will be automated. I believe that we will have a new workforce trained on how to work with agents. Agents will be so many, so cheap probably to obtain. The workforce will change what it looks like. However, I still feel that I still think, I believe that that people will have work. There will be different levels of seniority, and you would still have to manage not only agents, but you would have to manage the junior agent managers, so to say.
Mm.
So that's
Yes.
there's an element of collaboration and human to human interaction still. And this is where I think maybe that's even closer to the current reality right now. That would be a step to getting towards fully autonomous agents who are doing, something, and you're controlling just yes and no, yes and no, yes and no. But a step towards that is still some collaboration happening between humans
Mm.
and with the AI at different various stages. Um,
I agree. I agree with you, and we're seeing this with the member roles. Most of our clients are like, I want different member roles. I want some people to be able to do some things, but other people to be able to do other things.
yeah.
And this is especially prominent in enterprise, where the permissions matter very much.
Mm,
And they're like, okay, we're gonna feed the LLM with all of our data, but then this means that whoever uses the LLM has access to all your data,
mm,
right? And they're you have to solve this problem as well. It's either about the permissions. It's either you feed all the data to the LLM and then it's giving the people different bits of the data, or you have different models for the different subsets of data.
mm.
And this is also a possible future, where data is, how do you call it, federated, or I'm not really
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
uh, but it's very interesting that it's unsure which one it will be. I agree with you, and I think the whole Team-GPT team agrees that um, humans will be more involved in this.
Mm.
And I think one of our missions is to um, make them more involved, make it easier for them to be
Enable
involved,
them to be involved, right?
give them
Yeah,
the tools to be a part of this process.
yeah. And you have an idea that actually this was not scripted. This came around in the conversation very naturally. But your idea of the future of Team GPT, the way you've branded it, is a human to AI interface, right? Is this kind of what you have in mind when you speak about the human to AI?
Yeah, human to AI marketing term had to be used because when you say human to AI,
Mm,
and everybody's like, it's about the human AI bond, collaboration, whatever, partnership. But this does not have the human to human collaboration. And when we're talking about collaboration, human and AI, we're not collaborating really. Like, it's not a real collaboration between the human and the AI. Collaboration to me at this point happens between the human and the human, and the AI is a crucial part of this
mm,
process, and it will be forever. From now on, forever, the AI is gonna be a part of everything. But mm, to distinguish between just a human and AI, we call it human to AI.
yeah.
Many humans and many AI, by the way.
Mm.
So maybe human to AI to AI.
I was thinking maybe it's maybe it's human to human to AI, because it's bundles.
Mm,
It's likely that you will not really be human to AI. You will be AI enabled, empowered human, to AI enabled empowered human. That's just a direction in which now I've
And I'll
started.
make it more confusing. One friend of mine said, "You're thinking about this wrong. It's actually a triangle." And I'm like, what? This makes less sense even. Yeah, it's very, yeah.
Okay.
All of these things, they're very abstract. It's very hard to envision this future because it really depends on the technology, on the state of the technology. But then, OpenAI is pushing every frontier, and at the same time, this is not reaching all of the humans.
Yeah.
And there is this big gap between the state of the art tech and the uh, average person, right?
Yeah.
And someone has to bridge this gap. To me, this someone should be someone more similar to our profile, kind of someone who understands the state of the art tech, but at the same time is closer to the people, if you can say it in this way. Sounds very pretentious, but
It's it's somewhat non-technical, like it not that burdened by the cutting edge developments, not that into the cutting edge development
yes.
and where the technology is going. So
from what I see, people in San Francisco, people who live in San Francisco, they're so into the tech bubble that they miss this link between everybody else, literally, and San Francisco. And we need to bridge this gap. And I think it's gonna be someone who is not in San Francisco all the time doing it. We're actually incorporated in the UK,
yeah.
and a lot of our team is based in Europe. And when you're thinking about the future, it's gonna be about the people who participate in building this future. And I think we have a lot to give for our, if we can make our perspective a product.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already have the product, but if we can make this vision into a product, I think we can influence the future outcomes of what would the future look like.
Yeah. Okay, so we went into sci-fi a lot, but I want to bring it back to the present, and the immediate pains that we are trying to solve for our user base and our clients. But I can also talk about this, but in your vision, where are we going in the next 2 years?
Yeah, from the financial perspective, we can achieve many things, but not all things in the next 2 years. So right now, what we have done is we have built the product. We have the product. We know what people want. We have done the privacy as a topic, and I see 3 big milestones in the next 2 years. First, we have this deep realization that chat is not the most effective work mode, and my job is to basically gather this information, understand it, discuss it with the team, find the essence of the thing, and then you guys are actually in the product doing it. But the first thing is this: chat will chat will not be the main work mode. There will be other work modes. Second big trend that I see in the industry is this intelligent automation. I believe I've talked about it before, but I'll make a very brief example with the scraping of data again. You can send an agent to a website and you can tell them, find the most important information from this website and put it in the table. This was not possible before because the most important information is a subjective thing which a computer program could not do before, but with AI can now do and can intelligently automate any task that a person can do on a computer. Now, this automation will be tackled with these workflows that you briefly mentioned. Yeah, so you want to automate a process, it will be a workflow, and we need to enable them in some way. And the third big thing that I see in the next 2 years is that open source will catch up with OpenAI and Google. We're already seeing this with Mixtro AI and how fast they needed 3 months to reach GPT 3.5 accuracy. In 1 year, they will have reached GPT 4 level of accuracy. So I imagine that in 2 years from now, many open source projects will be good enough for almost any AI use case that you want, except for AGI, of course, because OpenAI, Google, and the others. They're trying, and Amazon with Anthropic, they're trying to reach AGI, but the open source will be good enough for tools like ours, which are trying to bring AI to the people to supercharge their
Yeah, to the
work.
workflow.
Yeah.
To the
As soon as open source is good enough, we take one of these models and we start reselling it as our own. We take it, we build on top of it. We can fine tune it if needed. I don't think this will even be needed in 2 years from now, but we can make it more specific to whatever use cases we are solving, and we can bring this to the product.
yeah.
This is what I see the next 2 years. Now,
Yep. So underpinning agents, the first steps towards creating our own proprietary intelligent agents based on the workflows that we are identifying are the ones that people are doing, executing repetitively. They need the
yes.
technology to do that with intelligent agents.
Yes, and this could be powered by us. If it's powered by, why is it important? If it's powered by us, it could be powered on premises, and you don't need to talk to OpenAI at any point. So this is why this is so important for our product. And yeah, now, so I always talk about these 2 years, 10 years, but as highly practical people, it's important what we're doing right now and how are we
we're still working. Don't worry.
You're working, yes. Thank you, because I'm going to San Francisco in a bit. But tell me, you're the head of product. In the next 3 months, what have we planned to deliver while I'm gone?
Okay, I just want to say you already know this, but it's for the sake of the podcast that I will discuss this with you.
I don't know the specifics anymore. I discuss it with you, but I'm not there in the meetings anymore.
I know.
So,
I know. Over the next 3 months, there's a couple of things, and we already briefly mentioned them. So the first one is we are releasing the new code base. That's a completely revamped version of Team-GPT with it has feature parity, so it has everything that currently Team-GPT has and users can do, but it also has a lot of the things that we weren't able to solve in the past 2-3 months that were starting to get very noticeable when we are speaking to our clients. So one of those things is having, and you mentioned that as well, that users want to have very robust ways to control permissions. So not every user can do everything, can see everything. So that's something that we were just not ready to execute with the current code base. So that's something we're releasing. We're releasing multimodality as well. That's coming with we're starting with DALI. We're starting to add files as well. So we are allowing users to talk to their own files. That's really, really powerful. We're seeing it validated across the market as well. And it's something that 100% needs to happen in Team-GPT as well. And the other thing that we're starting to, so we are releasing a work mode.
that is not chat.
That's not chat anymore. That's the one where you can edit with AI. It's a little bit different. You can also add your own human language if you want. I always want to do that. So that's, maybe I've built a feature for myself.
Power user.
Yeah.
You always want to do something more with the product. That's why you're good for the position.
Yeah. But then the other thing, the really big one that I'm also really, really excited about, and it's setting the base work for the next 2 years that you're talking about, the automation, is we are starting to build the workflows, the templated workflows. If you're a marketing person, we are going to know that you're a marketing person. You're going to tell us very early on that you're a marketing person, and we're going to give you suggested structures as to how to use the AI in a way that delivers good, reliable, repeatable results every time, and it's exactly what you want it to be. So those are the workflow templates, for lack of a better, marketing word that we have come up with. And that's also coming. And I think that this is setting the tone for the next 2 years when we have the resources to have
to perfect it
to market it better, to do more user research, to test it and validate it in more quickly and more robustly. We're still operating on some hypotheses when we're innovating, but it's setting the way for all of those things that you want us to do in the next 2 years, and we want to do as well in the next 2 years. You talked about Yuko in another episode that we cannot stop the guy from innovating. That's your co-founder. Uh,
I wanted to add
Yeah.
add to this even the agents. You mentioned the agents, but something we forgot to say was that the way these agents communicate between themselves will change, and there are also people working on this, the agent protocol.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be different because LLMs are unpredictable and the agents are a bit chaotic. So there are new protocols that are coming in place. The AI Engineer Foundation in San Francisco is working on this, and we're the first chapter of the AI Engineer Foundation in Europe. So we're in close contact with everyone. We're in the same organization. We're building these new protocols through which these agentic workflows
Yeah.
will be able to work not only within the same system but between different systems. So we'll be able to integrate outside of Team-GPT in a way more
Yeah, and the assumption here is that other tools as well will have those agents, and we will need to be able to communicate with the agents. They can exchange information, make decisions within certain boundaries, and so on and so forth. But we need software to intelligently enable us to operate those agents, to orchestrate what they're doing, if that's how we call it now.
orchestrate. Yeah, we innovate, orchestrate, collaborate. Yes. I think the future is very exciting. As we'll talk about in a separate episode, the most important thing is to be set up and to be able to to be able to meet this future that is inevitably coming. And I think we have set very very good set a very good fundament on which we can build and then create the future that we prefer.
We want, yeah. And it's really important, just to, as a last point, bringing you back to the beginning. The way we're building the product right now is having in mind all of this innovation that might come. So we are, while solving immediate needs, because we have a loyal and devoted user base, we are also thinking about where this can go and where it should go. And that's why we're doing a lot of the work that the users don't necessarily see right now, to underpin that, to be able to react very quickly when the new thing comes. Yeah.
Thank you, Moni,
Thank
so
you, Iliya,
much for this episode. And yeah, I have to go into a very important meeting. So
Classic Iliya.
thank you so much. And
I have a call.
see you in the next episode.
See you in the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.